Okay, so in this video, I'm quickly going to show you how to add tone to a drawing. I'm doing it on a pair of headphones just because then I can use the same video for all year groups. And the idea is that I just want to show you how you can correctly use your pencils to avoid outlines, to make gradual, to make sure that the tone is a gradient from light to dark, and show you how you can blend tones together using different pencils. I'm going to do one section just using one pencil, so I'll probably focus on a part of the headphone just using one HB pencil, and then on other parts I'll use different grades of pencil because some of you might only have one pencil at home, some of you might have like sketching pencils. And the idea of this video is just to help you get ready for your assessments, which we're going to be doing after we come back from half term, because those assessments are going to be using tone. So I want you to be able to use tone correctly in order to get the best grade that you can get when it comes to the assessments. So like I said, I have got my sketching pencils. So I have got a HB pencil, I've got a 2B pencil, and I've got a, I don't have a 4B, but I do have a 3B, and these are the pencils that you use in school. Well, when we were in school, you would use a HB pencil, a 2B, and a 4B, but like I said, I've only got a 3B at home, okay? And then I've got drawing pencils as well, which are the B pencil, 2H, and a H. So if you have, so my thing, I'll get my sharpenings out, is a sketching pencil kit. So some of you might have this at home or something like that. So I've got it just from there. And then the other things that you need is just a eraser and a sharpener to make sure your pencils are sharp. So let's start. I've already gone ahead and drawn my headphone just because I don't want to spend time here actually showing you how to draw because you know how to draw, and all I'm going to be showing you is how to use tone. So I'm looking at my headphone now, and because this section over here is silver, it's reflecting a lot of light, and it's got like this texture. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but it's got like texture in it. So what it's doing is creating the light to go alongside that texture in a wheel. So I'm just going to get a pencil. Now I'll do this middle section with a HB pencil. So I'm going to grab my HB pencil. It's a little bit blunt, so I'm just going to sharpen it a tiny bit so that it's a little bit sharper. And I'm just going to draw the kind of like V shape that I'm seeing coming up here. So it's like I'm drawing very, very, very lightly with my pencil. Okay, so that's my kind of V shape that I can see. Now basically this bit here, in here, are my highlights because those are the most bright areas that I can see. The area that's in the tone, the darker tone, is actually around here. And it kind of is going in a star shape. So I've got my darker tones here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my light tones and I'm gradually going to go darker. So even though this is a highlighted area, it's still tone. So I'm not going to leave it blank and white. Now what I'm doing, because it's a very, very light tone, I'm basically scratching the surface off my paper very, very, very lightly. I'm going in with that pencil. Okay, so it's barely touching the surface of the paper. And as you can tell as well, I am using my pencil on the side. So I get a nice finish when I add my tone. I don't want to add too much dark tone to that because it is really highlighted. Now, next to the highlight area, I'm starting to see that it gradually becomes dark. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting, and all of my tones is going into the middle, so I'm looking at the shape. And for year 8s that are doing reflections, you want to see where is your light actually pointing to, and my light is all going in towards this like center point. So how I'm going to add my tone is kind of gradually go around like this and bring it into the center like a pizza kind of. So at this point it goes a little bit darker, so what I'm going to start doing is just putting a little bit more pressure onto my pencil, and you can see that that tone then just becomes that slightest bit darker. And what I do is I kind of overlap the edges of the dark tones and the light tones, because I don't want it to be like, if I do it here, if I have a really light tone here and then I just start doing a really dark tone, you see a difference between that dark tone and the light tone. What you want to do is you want to make sure that when you add the light tone and you start going dark, what I would do is I would actually overlap the lighter tone and the darker tone and then gradually go darker. And release some pressure as it becomes light. So can you tell the difference between this one? I've kind of gone over it. Let me do that one again. This is what I see sometimes. So can you see the difference between this, where someone's literally just gone, I've gone from literally from light to dark, whereas in this one where I've gone from light to gradually getting darker. Okay, there is a difference between this and this. Okay, so come back to this. I'm going to carry on adding my darker kind of tones. And then here is where it gets really dark. So I'm going to put even more pressure on my pencil and bring it round. Okay, and then it starts going light again. Very odd highlight on this headphone. It starts becoming light again. And my camera is angled. I'm adding tone to this in a very strange angle. I'm just going to bring it round to where it goes light again. Just quickly going to do this bit. Hopefully my hand doesn't cover it too much. And what you can do as well is if you overlap your tones, so first of all, obviously I was going vertical with my pencil, but now I'm just going horizontal to fill in any gaps. If you're going to do this, make sure that you do it across the whole picture. You don't just do it over one section, because you can tell when it's been done in just one section. Okay, now over here I've got my lighter tone and my really light tone, but I can see, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but it's a little bit too starkly different. So I'm just gonna bring in the tone a tiny bit and blend those two, merge those two tones together, like so. Okay, and then what I can do is I can go in even darker afterwards and deepen the tone where it needs deepening. Okay, and you would do that going all the way around your object. So just with the same pencil, it is basically just, the rule of thumb is change of pressure off your pencil. The lighter pressure you put on your pencil, the lighter lines you get. The harder pressure you give, the darker lines you get. So you can tell here from the same pencil, the two completely different tones I've achieved with it. Okay, so you can see there that I have carefully thought about my tones, and I've gone round in a circle to create this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to using some of the other pencils as well. And I'm going to do this outer section, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of these outlines from your drawing. So I'm just going to grab my HB pencil, and I'm going to get my 2B pencil. 2H. And there it is. And I'm not going to take my 3B pencil for now, just because my headphones are, you might have seen them on the videos, they're like beige and silver, so they don't have really dark tones in them. So I'm just going to use my HB pencil, my 2B pencil. Now the best way to avoid outlines is drawing really dark with your pencil. So what happens sometimes is people go in with the your HB pencil, just a normal pencil, and when you draw a picture, you draw with a lot of pressure, which means that when you go to add your tone, it's already quite difficult, because if I shade in this cube, you then end up with this dark outline with a center that has tone in it. Okay, now I've said this so many times that objects don't have outlines to them, so when you draw, you shouldn't have outlines. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of this outline. So I've purposefully, like in some areas, drawn a little bit darker so I can show you how you can fix it, because there are ways that you can get rid of the outlines even if you have drawn a little bit darker. But just make sure that when you are drawing, you draw with a light hand, so that when you go in to add tone, the difference isn't that much between your outline and the tone in the middle. So you can see the difference between that and that one there. Okay, so what I'm going to start doing is I am going to start off from the line. I'm just going to focus on this section up here for now. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start off by focusing on this line. So I'm just going back and forth over it, and then what I'm going to start doing, this is just with my HB pencil, I'm going to start gradually bringing that tone down like that. Okay, now around the edge of my like this circular bit, I don't know what it is, it's like where the logo is, there is a change in depth. Okay, because I want this part to stand out from that part. So what I've just done is gone over that edge, but now you can see obviously I've got a thick dark line there and a dark line there, but a light in the middle. I'm just going to use that same technique, going back and forth over, and I'm going to start bringing that tone upwards. And I'm using the side of my pencil. Okay, this whole time I've not for a single time used the tip of my pencil. Now what I'm doing is I'm going back and forth with those two, and I'm just trying to create a nice gradient going round. Okay, I'm just going to turn this a little bit so I can focus on here. Bringing the tone lightly in the middle. And this section of my headphone is actually flat. It's a matte colour, so it doesn't actually reflect anything off it. But I can still see a differentiation between this section and this section here. Hence why I'm adding tone in these areas to show off that these sections are separate. Okay, so I've added my tone. This is just all with the HB pencil, by the way. So I've made a gradient with my HB pencil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 2B pencil, and I'm going to use that 2B pencil just to darken the edge a little bit more. Because obviously a 2B pencil, if you remember, is softer lead. So when you use the 2B pencil and you put more pressure on it, more of the lead comes off, and it creates a darker image. Okay. Now I don't know if you can tell because the iPad's cameras aren't very good, but can you see that there is darker section here, and then it's lighter in the middle? That's what you want, and that's how you get rid of an outline, okay? Because if I was to get my pencil and just go and tone in all of this area, especially around here where I've gone in a little bit too dark with my pencil, you can tell that there is an outline around this tone, whereas in this section you can't, because I've used my tone to get rid of that outline. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly finish this off and I'll speed it up for you guys. Okay, now I'm just going to do this section down here, because this is the under edge of like this top bit where the cord goes in. This part is quite dark because it's hidden underneath the top. So now is when I'm going to grab my 3B pencil, and I'm literally just going to use this 3B pencil to really darken that section. I'm just using again the side of the pencil. Now you basically just use these techniques to finish off your drawings. Okay. Got my cord here. I've got that section is different to that, so I'm going to add tone. What you can do as well is with the rubber, so here on my cord I've got a really high bit that's highlighted, so I can just use my rubber to rub some of it out. If you go a little bit too hard with your tone like how I did, you can use that to create like a light tone over there. Okay, so just do that. So let me just quickly turn this paper around and show you. So top tips are, this is a HB pencil, vary the pressure of your hand and you will get darker tones. This is learnt in year 7. Okay, so this is just me varying the pressure that I'm putting in on that pencil, and it's just all with a HB pencil. Then when you're adding tone, you go from light and then you gradually overlap the tones and you go darker. You go back and forth over them to create those tones. You do not do a light tone, and then a dark tone. Okay, that might be upside down, who knows. So then your next thing is when you're drawing an object, you don't draw a thick outline and shade. You draw a light outline and then you shade. Oh no, I'll walk way around. Okay, I'm looking at the camera and it's all upside down, so let's put the cross on here and a tick on here. Then what you're going to do is, if you have accidentally drawn your outline a bit too harsh, start from the edge, from where you have drawn that line, and then slowly start bringing that in. And use this technique to overlap the tones. And to bring it all in. Okay, so those are your tips for adding tone. Hopefully that helped, and when you come to do your assessment, you can use these tips to add tone really well to your images, and I look forward to seeing what you make. Bye!